Example of how you can use prototype in order to add to your constructor object. If you want to add additional functionality, this is where you can incorporate prototype. So we're going to generate a couple people within the person object and then output them using the full name prototype and output that content to the page. Create an HTML file and then link to the JavaScript, and then within the JavaScript we're going to output the content into the web page. So using the document query selector, let's select the element with a class of output so that we can output content within the display area. And then creating a constructor for an object called person, and we're going to take in two parameters, so first and last. And then using this keyword we can reference, because this is going to be referencing that main object, so we can reference and assign a value for first to be whatever is coming in as the argument within first, and also for last, once again using this keyword, we can reference the last value. So now if we want to construct a person, we can select that person object, and let's call it user1, and create a new person as referring to this person that we're generating here. And then for the name, we'll do the first name can be Laurence and the last name can be Svekis. So we'll pass in a string value for that user. And within the output inner HTML, we'll add to the inner HTML the result for user1. So it's returning back an object. And if we output that into the console, let's see what we've got for user1 as an object. So we do have an object which has a first and a last name to that. So we can add to the constructor. So if we want to return back the full name, which is what we want to output there, we don't want object. Now that we have these values that are sitting within person, we can construct that person by using and adding to the person. So adding to person, and this will generate the full name. So equal it to assign it to a function. And for this function, what we're going to do is we're going to return the value. So using the template literals, so those are the backticks, and referencing this first name, and then you can format it where you're adding in the space and then referencing once again the current main object, which is this, and then last. So we're going to be returning back the full name. So if we want to output the full name, we can now select it and do full name as user1. And we need to also include the parentheses, the rounded brackets, in order to properly return back the user name. So let's select user1, and first we'll output into the console. And we're going to see that we're actually returning back an error there. So we're returning back a type error. And that's because in order to add this properly, we have to use the prototype to add it. So adding in the prototype keyword will allow us to return back the function as expected and add this to the person object as we're constructing it. So this is where you can use the prototype in order to manage the results that are being returned back and add another function to your person object. So next, let's add in a few other people and do another update the last name there. So that's going to be the user2. And let's output the value of user2 after the user1. And I'm going to just add in a line break here so that we can distinguish between the two to a new line. So there's all our users that are being output to the page.